Ah, behold, another addition to the seemingly endless parade of forgettable superhero sagas. Can you feel the excitement? No? Well, don't worry, you're not alone. Here we have the audacious Blue Beetle, a character so obscure that even comic book aficionados are probably scratching their heads, wondering if the studio execs spun a roulette wheel to pick their next victim.
All-powerful persona to compensate for my childhood trauma and poverty.
I know sex exists, I've just never experienced it.
Always a pleasure.
I mean, protagonist. But fear not, dear audience, for this movie is here to remind us of a simpler time, a time when originality was just a wild dream and copying the formulas of Spider-Man and Iron Man was as common as a mundane Monday morning. It's like the creators played a game of cinematic Mad Libs. Give me a superhero who's a mix between a spider and a metal object. Perfect! Now toss in a plot that's been recycled more times than that plastic fork you've been using for weeks. Generics! And let's not forget the timing, because why release a movie when it's actually relevant? No, let's wait until the memory of Tobey Maguire's web-slinging is almost fossilized, and the world is more interested in Elon Musk's latest stunt than in another superhero origin tale. Genius, really. So as we gear up for yet another CGI extravaganza, let's all raise our glasses to the brave souls who dared to make a movie that's more formulaic than a cup of instant ramen. Bravo, Blue Beetle, for reminding us that in the vast universe of creativity, sometimes it's just easier to copy and paste. Cheers! The days when the studios could ship out generic movies about obscure superheroes and expect to rake in big profits are long gone, but the DC universe seemingly missed the memo, making a fashionably late entrance to a party that Spider-Man and Iron Man already rocked ages ago. Can you imagine if this thing actually dropped when Tobey Maguire was slinging webs and Robert Downey Jr. was suiting up? Ka-ching! But no, we're in the era of Instagram influencers, shit Hollywood, and superhero fatigue, and someone thought it'd be genius to unload a movie that seems like a blend of Spidey and Iron Man. It's like Iron Man and Venom had a generic baby, and Spider-Man was involved in the making in a weird way. Honestly, if you saw the trailer, you basically saw the entire movie because all the best scenes that bring the movie together, you saw them in the trailer. This is one of those films where you want the star of the film to just die because how annoying he was throughout the film. In most action scenes, he was just screaming and acting scared, not wanting to kill while his family is killing bad guys. I mean, his grandmom did the most killing this film more than anyone else. But towards the end of the film, he got his shit together, so I can let it pass. But the sister was supposed to die. I wanted her to die. She was one of the most annoying character ever, from the beginning and the end of the film, and I don't know why she did not get killed during the film. I really wanted her gone. Maybe it wouldn't been an emotional death for the film, so they kept her in the film. Conrad Carapax was big and intimidating. He actually gets more depth than I expected for a henchman like him in this film, and he probably should have just been the main antagonist, not Victoria. That would have been interesting to watch, and I'm sure most people would have been more invested in the plot. But it was bitter Victoria the forgettable. George Lopez's character was great, he was funny, he kept the movie going for me, even though the comedy overstayed its welcome. At some point during the film, I felt like they should just wrap it up and end the film, and when I was leaving the theater, I couldn't help but feel sorry for it. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate the film. I think it's harmless. It has limited fun for pleasure, and has some cringy and boring moments now and then. It's a 2-hour film that's entertaining at the last 30 minutes of the movie, and then you just forget about it. Overall, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a forgettable 90s-style superhero movie. Not everything needs to be a game changer. And I can't complain since almost all of DC's offerings have been forgettable for close to a decade now. This one wasn't going to be a banger or anything. Basically, every superhero movie since Endgame has been the same boring, forgettable shit. You don't exactly need a crystal ball to know that this movie was practically set up to fail, barely advertised by a studio that had no faith in it and released during that awkward dead zone of summer films. And it doesn't really matter if this movie bombs, because at one point DC's plan was to make this big-budget superhero movie and basically release it for free in streaming platforms and online. So they basically knew this movie was going to fail. But brace yourselves for another spectacle of cinematic déjà vu. Xolo Mariduena, the virtuoso of verbosity, has graced us with his wisdom. Apparently, he has graciously declared that it's not the film's fault, nor the performers and the crew, that we're on the precipice of witnessing a cinematic disaster. Oh no, my dear friends. The culprits are none other than us, the humble audience, who bear the weight of this production's success or failure. How kind of him to offer us such a noble role in this grand performance. It's up to us to grace the theaters with our presence and pump life into this supposedly masterpiece. In this delightful cinematic era, we're gifted with the responsibility of determining whether movies like this will sink or swim. Yes, because we all secretly moonlight as Hollywood moguls, right? Here's the thing, though, Sholo. You've got it all upside down. The film should be sweeping us off our feet, not the other way around. In this grand theater of absurdity, we're expected to shoulder the burden of the film's success, as if we're the ones who concocted this masterpiece of entertainment. But oh, the entertainment gods have spoken, and they've deemed it our sworn duty to cough up our hard-earned cash simply to keep their DC dreams alive for another 10 years. It's not our duty to breathe life into a story that's as worn out as a pair of old sneakers. It's the creators' job to entice us, to make us yearn for the adventure they've crafted. And here we are, standing at the crossroads, deciding whether to embark on this cinematic journey or to save ourselves from yet another round of disappointment. Whether it makes money or not, James Gunn has already said that Sholo as Blue Beetle will continue on in the DCU. So, Sholo, relax. The mastermind himself said it. You are fine. James Gunn, the guardian of the DC galaxy, the heralded savior of the DC universe. Or is he? James Garner seems to have no clear vision for where they need to take it. He stepped into a job which seems like he can't succeed in, as DC are honestly just a sinking ship at this point, and I don't know how they can actually save themselves. With each new offering sinking faster than the Titanic and hitting critics and bank accounts like a double whammy. With a slate of projects that's about as enticing as a cold bowl of oatmeal, he's got fans trembling with anticipation. Or perhaps it's just chills from the sheer boredom. So, Sholo, James, and the rest of the crew, let's get this straight. It's not the fans' duty to prop up a shaky universe. The responsibility falls squarely on your shoulders to craft something worth watching, something that doesn't feel like a bland reheating of leftovers. But hey, who needs quality when you can just blame the audience for not getting the memo? It's time to step up and deliver, because blaming the audience is a tired act, and we're not buying tickets to that show anymore.